Okay, this is the questions from the sections that people had. So from 5.1, number 35, the problem is sine of x over cotangent squared of x minus sine of x over cosine squared of x. And we're supposed to be simplifying it down, essentially. So we need to look at how to rewrite it, because right now these don't have a common denominator, so I can't combine them. So I could just go ahead and get a common denominator, but probably the better way to go about this is that we know that cotangent of x is equal to cosine of x over the sine of x. So we should rewrite that, obviously, with it being squared. So we have sine of x still on top over cosine squared of x over sine squared of x minus sine of x over cosine squared of x. Now we know that if we divide by a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. So I would rewrite this as sine of x times sine squared of x over cosine squared of x, still minus sine of x over cosine squared of x. So then this, we can multiply sine of x times sine squared of x, giving us sine cubed of x minus sine of x all over cosine squared of x. So since they have a common denominator, I went ahead and combined them. Now we can still simplify it more, because we can pull out a sine of x from the top from both pieces. So sine of x times sine squared of x minus 1 all over cosine squared of x. Now, right here, what I need to look at is the fact that my Pythagorean identities say that sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x is equal to 1. So if I want to look at something involving sine squared and a negative 1, possibly, I need to solve. So cosine squared is equal to 1 minus sine squared of x. So what I should have done here then, because this is negative and this is positive, or what I can still do is actually pull out a negative, making that negative inside. That becomes positive. So now I have 1 minus sine squared, which can be replaced with cosine squared. So I have minus sine of x times cosine squared of x all over cosine squared of x. Those two cancel, leaving me with minus sine of x. So that's that problem. Now, number, 5.2. We have number 5. So these ones were showing that it's equal to, or the f of x is equal to the sine of x. So 5, told the f of x, this is from 5.2, f of x is equal to sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x all over cosecant of x. So we know, again, that sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. So I can replace the top with 1. So that's equal to 1 over the cosecant of x. I know that cosecant of x is equal to 1 over the sine of x. So I can rewrite that as 1 over the sine of x. Again, multiply by the reciprocal. So it's 1 times sine of x over 1, which is equal to the sine of x. So yes, it's an identity. Alright, and then lastly, the last question that I got was number 19. So basically these ones were showing that the statement is true, so 1 minus sine of beta times 1 plus the cosecant of beta is equal to 1 minus the sine of beta plus cosecant of beta minus sine of beta cosecant of beta. So I want to prove that the left side is equal to the right side, so I'm just going to bring this stuff on the right side down. So over here, I'm just going to FOIL. So 1 times 1, so 1. 1 times cosecant plus cosecant of beta minus sine of beta minus sine of beta cosecant of beta is equal to all that on the right side. So now I just need to reorder it to actually get it in that order. So 1 minus the sine of beta plus the cosecant of beta minus sine of beta cosecant of beta is equal to all this on the right side. And so then yes, it is true. So that's all for the questions. Hopefully this will help you through the homework.